All right, today we're going to have a little tour of the shop. I'm just now pulling up in, and we're going to take you through the whole shop, show you all my different stuff that I have. And I got to open the door now, so just hold on a minute. Let me get out. Open the door. It's an electrically powered door, so. It's a good thing. The only thing is when the electric goes out, you lose it. And this is like an area here that we use for, we'll come back to this in a little while. This is an area we use for kind of like catch-all right at the moment, but I got some of my other equipment here we'll touch base about later. But this is the main part of the shop here. And if the camera will follow me, the camera person.
Yes.
Okay. And we're going to take you on a little bit of tour of Mercer Locomotive. All right, this is where I do all my milling. This is, of course, obviously a Bridgeport mill. This is actually only has a 32-inch table. Now, I have another machine we're rebuilding. I'll show you a little bit later. It's a variable speed head. Now, this one here has a Tico, what do they call it, VFD. And I don't know if I like them. They run and I get the variable speed and all that, but you get no torque. I got to change, still got to change the belts, and I'm going to keep it on this machine, but on the new machine I'm going to hook it directly to the three phase because I have the variable speed, so I don't really need it. But Mr. Pete was doing a video on the VFD, variable frequency drive, and he was going to put it on a mill. I don't know if he ever did. I was going to write him about it, ask him and say, don't do it. Whatever you do, don't do it. To me, maybe you could set them, I don't know, but there's nothing like just a phase converter. We use a phase converter, the motor's back there, and I had the converter box over by the other thing. But anyhow, that's that. This is, oh, by the way, on this, if I run this, now we have 208 power here, so 208 power, and it's fluctuating power. And I don't know if it'll do it right now, but it'll drop. It'll drop 50 RPMs, 100 RPMs. Whoop, just like that. Now this one here is running directly off the three phase, which at the moment here I'm going to hook it up so I can turn it on from out there, but I got to turn on the motor. And everybody says, they're noisy and this and that. You know, sometimes it's so quiet that I can't even tell it's on, and I leave the shop and the thing's running. So what I need to do is put a little switch out there and put a pilot light on it so that I know when it's on. But anyhow, this is the big Bertha here. Move this out of the way so you can see a little bit better. The camera person would follow me. Oh, you already did. Well, wow, got her trained. Anyhow, out of the way, that's Giselle back there. There she goes. Look at that thing, man. One to west, these things, boy. These are the greatest things since 7-Up. I got to drop down. I want to cut the chuck. Automatic feed in all directions. Go back the other way. And these guys, the old guys that did these things were really smart because you cannot engage the handles if the feed is in. They have a lockout on them. And of course this has got the vertical head on it. This head swings around the other way and hooks up there, and then I have the arbor and whatnot comes out here for the horizontal setup. But I paid $600 for that machine. Can't beat it. Best $600 ever. So, got all the lights on. Turn the lights off. This is where I do my welding. I'm ashamed of this place. This is nonsense. So this winter, I'm going to build a nice bench here with a 1/4-inch plate or maybe 3/8 plate on the top of it. Leveling legs. This is my TIG welder. And I got a MIG welder over here. And behind it here, you see, I have the oxyacetylene stuff, you know. So you need all of these three things. And beyond it this way, come this way, this is my Powermatic drill press, which runs off a three phase. And this is a 20-inch drill press. 20-inch drill press. And then we have right here, which is being used for cigarettes and glasses and a telephone at the moment. This is a a 15-inch drill press, but it's also variable speed. I'm not going to drill your phone. All right, over here is where I have my pride and joy, my 15-inch, 1540 Sharp. It's obviously Taiwanese, but it's a beautiful machine. And I turned the three-phase off, but you get the idea. I mean, this is a real lathe. Accurate. I bought this in 1981, so that's 35 years old roughly, and it's beautiful. I've got a readout digital, Mitutoyo digital readout on it. I've got a complete set over here. Can you see this? Complete set of harnage collets, and not any other but harnage collets. I got the step collets to go with it, and I have all 5C tooling because that is used on the harnage precision lathe, which is out in the other room, which we'll show a little bit later. But this is my pride and joy. I've got the collet set up. I got a 3-jaw chuck. I got a 4-jaw chuck. Accurate lathe. I can depend on this part after part after part after part. Never changes except if the tip wears out. So it's always good to have a good lathe. Okay. Now we're going to go back up a little bit. We're going to come over here. By the way, this building is about 20 feet wide and approximately 150 feet long. All right, over here, this is the pattern shop here. We'll get to that in a minute. If we come over here, this is where we do the spin casting. I do all my spin casting here. This is the spin casting machine that spins the molds, the rubber molds that I use, different whatever pieces. The molds are made in this machine back here that's tucked back in the corner. Back here, this is the press. I move this stuff out of the way and use the press. And of course you work off this bench, and here is the furnace, or the melting pot, where it's hard as a rock right at the moment, and then you pour the metal in there. And we got a ventilator on it, and so on and so on. And that's where I do all my casting. Here we have Powermatic metal cutting bandsaw. This is a 143. The 141 is strictly for wood, model 141. This is a 143, and this one has a 2-speed transmission. And the old Walker Turner bandsaw, this is every bit as equivalent to that saw. This is a great saw. It's all you really need. I had a big dual ML 16-inch saw. You really don't need them for live steam work. And I have the blade on here is a combination blade. It's a 1410. So that means it's got 14 teeth and 10 larger teeth, and different staggered tooth. And what that does is it's able to cut a little bit better. But it runs great. It runs on 110. I only keep it on 1 speed. I just recently, about 2 weeks ago, put all new rubber tires on it, and I reconditioned it and fixed it up a little bit. So that's that. Now, if we swing around the camera, we're over here, and this is we have everything on wheels in this joint. This is a portable bench here that I use right now. I'm using it to do all my little stuff, like the headlights we've been working on, the marker lights and so on. And I work on this little bench here, and I brought it over here so I can be by the drill press, which is right next to it there. So I work here, and then by the way, I have a little miniature drill press here. This is similar to a Cameron drill press, but this is a direct drive, and it's pretty good. You can drill small holes up to a 16th. So it's big enough for what I need. I have the other one. And also I bought this tapping thing here. I never owned one, but this is an awesome thing. I have all the taps set up here, and it works like it's magnetic. And then you tap, and it keeps the taps nice and straight, and less chance of breaking a tap with this thing. So the only drawback about it is when I use it with a vise, let me find a vise. Where the heck is the vise? Oh, right here, right in front of me. If I use it with this little vise, you see, the parts come up a little higher. So what I really would like to do one of these days is make a little plate for that and raise it up so you can a little bit more capacity. But I don't know if you can see in the background, but background there hanging up, they're all the patterns that I've made so far. Some of these were made when on my videos. I have some over here hanging. These are all the 040 patterns, and you can see this is one here that we made on a video. It's not gone to the foundry yet because there's no holes here for for the flask, but these are all the 040 patterns, and I made all of these patterns since I've been here, about 5 years now, off and on. Okay, now we're going to go this way into the pattern shop, and I always wanted to have a shop, pattern shop, wood shop for doing patterns, but I wanted it separate of the woodwork, the metalworking, because of the dust. Lots and lots of dust with this stuff. But as you can see, I have a disaster bench. We haven't cleaned that off yet. And I got my, over here I got my sander. You see the sander? Okay. Sander, and then below it, down here on the bottom, I have my planer. You have a thickness planer, see? A thickness planer, and then I have another little sander behind it. And then over here, I have a cut-off saw. I made the 2 benches on either side. It has a stop set up on it. Go back and forth for, you know, cutting multiple pieces. My originals tool right here, Craftsman drill press. A little skinny belt. It runs great. Use it for wood, strictly for wood. And it works really good. It's a floor model. Of course, it was the first thing I bought. I've owned this for over 45 years, almost 50 years. Now over here, in this corner, everything's got to be on wheels in this place. I use these for parallels underneath patterns. But this is, oh, by the way, this is the stuff Mr. Pete gave me. Appreciate it very much. Fillet material. This is stuff I had, but he gave me a better variety. But this is a spindle sander. It rotates, of course, round and goes around, and then it also oscillates. The oscillating spindle sander, and this is made by the State Company, S-T-A-T-E, State. Very good, heavy-duty, high-quality. They rank up there with Oliver, if you ever heard of Oliver. This right here is what they call a unisaw. It's a copy, of course. This is a Grizzly. It works fine. I have no problem with it. It cuts good enough for what I want to do with it, just basically cutting wood. I don't have anything real precision I do with this. It's also on wheels. I can roll it around. And by the way, you might see it here, all in the shop here. And if the camera person would turn around just real quick and show that up here, this is a rigid vacuum. And below it, you can't see it there, but it's called a Dirt Devil. It's a cyclone. It's a cyclone setup. And when you turn on any one of the machines here, like if I turn on this sander here, it turns on the vacuum. And if I turn it off, in 7 seconds it'll shut off. Okay? And that's the way I want it. I'm a lazy guy. And I made all these blast gates myself. If the camera person will get this. Blast gates. Back up. All right. Okay. Now I'm going to just tell you something about this stuff. When I first set up the Dirt Devil, I tried it out right on my regular vacuum, my shop vac I have in the other room. And it said they're going to have static electricity, so I'm vacuuming, trying it out. I go to touch the saw, bing, I get a shock. I said, oh man, how am I going to fix that? Well, then I found out they had these kits that you put the wire and you ground it so you don't get that static, you run it in the pipe. But I said, well, I'll do that, I'll get that done. So I went out and I went to the Home Depot and I'm looking for pipe, and I found out that the conduit pipe for electrical conduit is non-conductive. Yeah, that don't matter. It's non-conductive. So I wanted these long sweeps, and this is what's called a 2-inch sweep. So and by the way, none of this stuff is glued together. Certain pieces are glued, like this is glued, but this is not glued. I could take this apart if I want to clean it. And I bought the pipe. It was $2 cheaper for a 10-foot length of pipe than for the PVC, this white pipe for the drain. And anyhow, I used all these long sweeps. You buy these long sweeps, and now these things I could not find anywhere in the world. They do not make a blast gate to fit 2-inch PVC. They do not make it. I looked everywhere. They have all this Rube Goldberg Botchica loop stuff with pipe clamps and rubber hose and all this. I says, I drew one up on CAD. I bought some ABS plastic at the McMaster car, and I machined these all out and glued them together with the regular glue, aluminum in between. I made the blast nozzle. I put a O-ring on this side, so when these aren't being used, that jumps up like that and it seals it. But then when it's not, when you want to use it, you just pull it out. Simple. So I've got 3 or 4 of them around the shop here, and I just close them and open them when I need them. All right, now we're going to go down here. We're going to go through the Hall of Fame